Community Show Be Restored TV show. I'm your host, Prophet Cedric Banks, along with
Prophetess Dinetta Banks.
Got a great show for you today. We doing someone who's doing some great things out here in the community in the city of Detroit. That's really being a helping hand with their organization. And hey, we just want to introduce him. Look right there in that camera, tell him who you are and where you're from.
Okay, I'm Brother Jerry Johnson. I'm a Capuchin friar, and we run the Capuchin Soup Kitchen, which is really, it's about 7 different programs out of 5 different sites, and we just try to be a good neighbor in the community and serve mostly through food. That's our major way we serve the community, and we just like to be one of many groups and churches in the area that try to support the community whatever way we can. I'm a Franciscan friar, which is kind of like a monk. Okay. And so we also have St. Bonaventure Friary Chapel, which is over by Mount Elliott and close to the, there's a big cemetery right there, Mount Elliott Cemetery, just across the street there. Yeah. So that's a chapel we run. We wouldn't say it's a full like parish. We don't normally do say weddings and baptisms and the full services there, but we do have another parish that we run. It's St. Charles Borromeo Parish. That's down around say Van Dyke and Kercheval. It's not exactly right there, but right in that area. Now that'd be a full parish, but
okay, that's a full parish down there. So what all do you offer at the Capuchin? What all do you offer?
Well, we're mostly around trying to support the community pretty directly through some needs such as food. So we have 2 soup kitchen sites. Between the 2, we serve about 1,200 meals every day, hot meals.
You serve 1,200 hot meals a day?
I'm sorry, about 2,000. I'm sorry, about 2,000. So
wow.
The Meldrum site's about 700 a day, and then the one on Connor Street, that's about 1,300 meals a day. There.
Wow, I didn't know you were giving up that much. That is a lot.
It's something that it's a bit tragic that there's that much need. Yes. You know, and hopefully in the future there won't be. But for right now there is. You know.
Okay. Wow. Now that is a whole lot. 1,200 meals a day. How many days do you serve that?
Well, at the site that's over by Meldrum Street, around the St. Bonaventure Friary, they serve Monday through Friday, breakfast and lunch there. Then over at the Connor Soup Kitchen, they serve breakfast, lunch, and supper Monday through Friday, but they also have a breakfast and a lunch on Saturdays as well there.
Okay, Saturdays. Yeah. What time? What time on Saturdays?
The Saturday meal at Connor, they have a breakfast from 8:30 to 9:30, and then the noontime meal runs from 11 to 1 for lunch there. Okay.
What type of meals are being served? What type of food is being served? Just give us a little glimpse, if you could.
Well, we have a chef at both places, you know, and they're inspected by the city, and these are professional chefs, so they try to get some nutritious meals. So usually be a tray, might have some type of meat will be involved, then also a vegetable and a sweet, and usually, you know, some potatoes or bread or rice, something like that. It's usually a pretty decent meal.
Okay. Great. That sounds good. And is there a phone number where the people can reach you at?
Yeah, so my phone number, my office is at the Meldrum Soup Kitchen site, and my number is 313-579-2100, and my extension is 220.
Oh, that is really nice. You guys are really doing some great things, what you all are doing. Just tell us a a little bit more information, what goes on with the organization.
Okay, so we started back in the Capuchin Soup Kitchen, started in 1929 at the Friary where I live currently, which is on Mount Elliott there. We had a friar who worked as a porter at the front door, and anybody that wanted to talk would come in and talk with him. And he noticed during the Great Depression, lots of people were coming in. Sometimes, usually he would talk with people, pray with people, listen, and then sometimes he would ask the kitchen there at the Friary to make some food if folks needed that. But during the Depression, it got to be so many people, they started to work with some business leaders in the area, some volunteers, and people in the church, and they started the soup kitchen right next door. And it's been going ever since. And then in the 1970s, you know, the friars were trying to think of, well, what other way can we support people for what they're going through? So they started a residential program for 12 guys that maybe were coming out of homelessness, but were also had substance abuse issues. So they started a treatment center for 12 guys, and that's still running today. That's down on Jefferson Street and Seminole, pretty close to Van Dyke. We have a house there, and it's a residential program. It's about 6 to 9 months. Not just trying to help guys get back on their feet and support them and help them get going on to the next stage of their life. And we have another program that's up about just south of I-94 in Mount Elliott.
Yeah.
That's called the Capuchin Services Center. And that's where our big pantry is. And for that, that's probably our biggest program of all of them.
Right. Now, you mentioned a friar. A friar, okay. Can you tell the people in TV land what is the role of a friar?
Good, yeah. So a friar just simply means brother. And we would follow St. Francis, who lived in about the 1200s. We're Catholic Christians, and St. Francis tried to think of everyone as his family, basically. Everyone he saw, he tried to treat them with the same respect that he would treat his brother or sister, acknowledging that God is our Father, and we're all brothers and sisters. And even creation itself, brother, he had this poem that he sang, Brother Sun, Sister Moon. And so friar simply means brother, and that's how we try to relate with the world, is try to think of everyone as family. So whenever somebody comes in, I try to think of them as like my own sister, and try not to be patronizing, but to think, because I wouldn't get away with that with my sister, so my own sister, so I try to be like a real brother to everyone I meet. So friars are a certain called religious order within the Catholic Church, and you've heard there's also monks.
Yes.
Monks would live in one spot their whole life, and they do a lot of prayer. That's sort of their mission in the Holy Spirit, is prayer. Friars, our mission is to be out in the community and do stuff like we're doing. And then there's other religious, you know, like the Jesuits, they're another religious order. They're into education as their role. So different groups, and then like say Mother Teresa with Missionaries of Charity, their role is healthcare. So our role is to be out in the community and to try to just be one of the brothers in the community and work together for these good things.
All right, wonderful. You had a question here.
Wow, that's really great. So for those who are looking for services for food, do they have to be like homeless in that, or can just anyone come and partake of the services of food at any time?
Yeah, kind of right from the start, it's always open to anyone. We don't really ask questions because we don't know the situation that folks are coming out of. So everyone's welcome, you know, at the sites. There are some stipulations. For example, at our Capuchin Services Center, if someone is coming out of a situation where their house had been on fire, or if they're coming out of a shelter, they might be eligible for more things like furniture, beds,
Okay.
some appliances. So they would have to have some special, like something from where, you know, like a voucher from where they're coming out of, like from the Red Cross, or from the shelter that they're coming out of. And if they have that, then they can get some more services.
So they will bring the voucher to you all?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Usually the program that they had been in, like if they had been in a shelter for a couple of weeks, they'll give them like a voucher, and then they'll bring that voucher over to us. And so we work closely with other groups that can kind of help connect people to us that have that kind of need. But for our meal programs and our regular food pantry and clothing, that's really open. We don't ask questions. Folks can come in and have a meal.
So your pantry services is there like a certain day of the week that you're open and then people can come on that day of the week and receive food? Or does it work that way?
Monday through Friday, is it?
Yes.
That's where they can come and get food, like boxes of food?
Yes. Now the food pantry up by I-94 and Mount Elliott, just south of that a little bit, that one folks would call like the day before and set up an appointment and then come in. And if it's a single person, they can get, say, 40 pounds of food. It's almost like a little grocery store. They can come in and take the types of food that they would normally use.
Oh, wow.
And get their clothes. And then this is where we have a lot of donors that help. There's also some vegetables and things coming in from different organizations. And then they can come in once every 3 months, a single person.
Okay.
But a family, if it's someone representing a family, they can come every month and get about, like, say, 80 pounds of food.
Wow.
And seniors can come in more often as well. So it depends on a person's need, you know.
And what about your residential services? Your residential services. You say that, you know, it's a 6 to 9 month program. How does that work for those who are watching?
Okay. So we have 2 residential programs. The one we were talking about was Jefferson House, it's called. And these men would stay 6 to 9 months it's a treatment program. And they would also do work in the soup kitchens themselves as part of that treatment, maybe 15 to 20 hours a week.
Okay.
And that's part of the AA program as service. But the other times they're doing their own treatment with the program.
And you're feeding 1,200 people a day?
Yeah, roughly, yeah.
And then one location you got are feeding 1,300 people a day.
So the Meldrum site's about 600 or so a day, and then the Connor Soup Kitchen, that's about 1,300. Wow. So about 2,000
2,000 people a day?
For the hot meals, yeah.
For the hot meals?
Yes.
Wow. So any one of us can come up there and get a hot meal?
That's good, yeah, correct. And it's nice to have a mix of people coming in. Like I'll eat there myself because it's like the gospel around the table. It's like that's where we come together, you know, as family around the table. And so anyone can come. I mean, it's primarily for those who need it the most, but sometimes it's not. Sometimes food is what we need as human beings, but sometimes it's also a connection with one another.
So you provide also, you can provide and get resources. When they bring you the voucher, you can provide or bring resources with furniture, right? Mm-hmm. And what else? We want to make sure we get that to the folks out there in TV land. Furniture.
Okay, for the services center, the food pantry, usually it's like non-perishable foods,
right?
Clothing, and then anybody can get that. And it's restricted though how often that can come. But then folks, if they're coming out of a fire or a shelter with the voucher, they can also get a lot of times beds, furniture, sometimes appliances, you know, depending on what we have available. And those are the main things. But with the clothing too, like if somebody has kids, sometimes we'll have some coats and things kept in a special spot. Right. You know, when folks come through the pantry, they'll meet with our social workers first, and maybe if they have particular needs, they might address them. And like if they have kids that need coats, sometimes it's a good place to ask because we might have some that we try to save in a special spot for folks that need that.
Oh, okay.
You know.
Wow, that's really great. All of the great things that that you all are providing. You know, for our producer here, she normally gets in on the questions. Do you have any questions for the Capuchin organization here, because they're providing a lot of great things. And
well, I guess with Christmas coming up, is there anything special or different that you guys are doing for Christmas, or just kind of every day as usual?
Yeah, we try to keep the programs running, you know, like normal, but at the Capuchin Services Center, the Pantry, on the 18th and 19th of December, they're going to be they do a special program there where they've identified 450 different families, and they've already registered for this, and I think that's all full by now. But during those 2 days, 450 families will be coming through, and they've checked off a list of about 8 different things that they could use in addition to food, like household goods, like say laundry detergent, sheets, blankets, things that we all need to live, but don't normally, things that are expensive, you know, that we don't normally get. And then along with that would also be a box of, you know, some food, non-perishable foods, and I think a ham and maybe some chicken or turkey, one of those. And so they'll have a line of cars coming through those 2 days and trying to run that through. And they do that at Thanksgiving, and also at near Christmas. So that's a little bit of a bigger program. And then at our soup kitchen sites, you know, we'll just try to have a couple of festive days where it's a little bit more than your normal meal. And like at one of our sites, one of our chaplains, she's gathered some of the folks at the soup kitchen. She's got a little choir.
Hey, I'm a chaplain.
Okay. Yeah. And
you can keep going, but I am a chaplain.
Okay. And she's got a little choir there, and so they'll sing Christmas songs and try to get a little festive.
Do the chaplains speak or preach or anything, or speak?
Mostly they'll have, she'll have a little prayer service once a week. It's kind of open to everyone, and she'll speak a little bit there, yeah.
Do the people gather up and come out?
Yeah, she'll have about 15 or 20 people are usually there,
good.
So.
That's good. That's great.
So. But those are the main things around Christmas time. And
okay. So what's the deadline? So we'll know for next year. Maybe we'll rerun this kind of earlier in the year. What's the deadlines for people to sign up, and kind of what's the eligibility? Do you know?
I would say for those 2 programs, for Thanksgiving and for Christmas, if they could maybe call about a month before,
okay,
and try to, you know, and just keep checking, you know, about getting registered. But the other places, they can come the same day, except for the Pantry, they would have to call the day before and just set up an appointment for the next day.
okay.
We do that just so not everybody comes at once, so we can spread it out, so people don't have to wait so long. But it's usually pretty busy. It was kind of designed for about 150 people a day, and right now we're seeing close to 300 coming through the food pantry, so it's been hard to keep up with that, and I feel bad because sometimes people have to wait and it's hard to get through on the phone. So if anybody does try, I ask you to just be patient and forgive us for not being able to answer the phones as quickly as what we would like to.
Okay. So are you guys always kind of looking for volunteers? Or?
Yes, yeah, and forgive me, I got my little cheat sheet here with some numbers on it for volunteers, because we rely pretty heavily on volunteers to help run our site. So if anybody is interested in volunteering, is it okay if I give the number for people?
You go right ahead.
Okay, so if you're interested in volunteering, our volunteer coordinator is at the Connor Soup Kitchen site, you know, between Mack and Warren, and her number is 313-822-8606. Again, 313-822-8606, and her extension is 215. So if a person calls there, what she'll try to do is schedule a time for our schedule and for the caller's schedule to match it up where they could come in and help. Usually it's help serving the meals, or if it's at the pantry, it's kind of restocking the shelves and sorting clothes. Because we get the clothing donations and we have to kind of separate them into men's and women's and children's and that sort of thing.
Oh, okay, that's great. The residential, I'm interested in that because I know that people are, needing places to stay in there. Did you outline like what the requirements are again for that? Is it a voucher or something else for the food, right? What about the residential? How would they apply to that?
Do you supply folks places to live, housing?
Okay. It's a good question. It's something that's a big need in the community, but we don't do that. We don't do the residential piece except for the 2 programs. If someone's looking for residential like housing assistance, they could come into the services center and speak with one of our social workers who might know of an organization to kind of try to get them connected to someone
that can resource
yes.
that out.
Yeah, and that's
okay,
why
that's good. That's good. At least there's hope. At least there's hope for them.
Yes, and we have social workers at our 2 soup kitchens as well.
Oh, wow.
People can ask to meet with them, and that's why we have them there, because we're only just doing one piece of the need, but the social workers sometimes can help connect to other organizations
resources
that do that and are good at doing that.
Sounds good.
But
and we know this is your first time on the show here today. And I just wanted to ask you, have you ever looked at the TV show on Saturday nights, or have you ever seen it online? Or tell us a little bit about that for the TV audience.
Well, the one I watched was on YouTube with Councilperson Mary Sheffield.
Okay.
And I noticed that a lot of your shows are with folks in the community that have been doing work at that level, which I think is very important, because you look at some of the other areas that are involved with transportation, housing, education. There's so many areas that it takes to restore the community, as your show is trying to do, which I thought is very inspiring to see all the different folks that you have on there, and how it takes such a wide spectrum of folks in the community to support what needs to happen. And so it's pretty neat to see the folks you have on the show.
Thank
and
you.
so that's why I'm very grateful, kind of humbled to be a part of it, you know what I mean? So appreciate your call when you did call.
Yeah. Well, we think, because we've had many people, many governmental leaders and city leaders. We've had the mayor on the show.
Yeah.
Mayor Duggan. We've had all type of judges from 36th District Court. Did you see them?
I haven't watched that particular one.
Yeah, we have all type of judges, 36th District Court, Wayne County 3rd Circuit Court. The assistant prosecutor has been here on the show. So we have had many state representatives, everybody pretty much on city council, except for maybe one person. So we have had all of them. So we have had all type of rescue mission, is it?
Detroit Rescue.
Detroit Rescue Mission have been on.
Life Builders.
Life Builders. Many type of
Salvation Army.
Salvation Army.
Angels.
Angels. We've had several different human trafficking organizations have been on the show, and the city of Detroit is second worst in the world for human trafficking.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's terrible. But I'm coming in partnership with a major human trafficking organization, and we're getting ready to put on a big event soon. The early part of 2018, we're getting ready to put on a big event. So we're getting ready to try to cut down on human trafficking here in this city.
That's one thing I appreciated when I looked through the list of folks you have on the show, the efforts of trying to look at the positive, what can we do rather than saying what's going wrong. Although we have to look at what's going wrong sometimes, but also sometimes we miss what's going right and what to get behind.
Anybody, all of the great, powerful leaders that have been on in this city, if you come on this show, we go talk about, I'm gonna let you know beforehand, we go talk about the solutions. We ain't gonna talk about we going under, we gonna talk about some game plans. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Because that's what I'm about. We're going to talk about some game plans, how we can make change. Because we got a hungry audience that reaches a couple million people that looks at this show. And they counting on me to fight for them. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. What can we do to get better? And that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk. We don't care who you are, what office you hold, how prominent you are. We're going to talk about what we can do to get better. Mm-hmm. That's my heart. That's my heart. That's my mentality. That's why the show was named. You know what the name of the show is, right?
Yes. Restoring the community.
The community shall be restored. You were right there, though. You were right there.
All I had in my head was restoration. Restoration.
Right. But you were right there, though. You were right there.
I was thinking, too, of that Isaiah passage, repairers of the breach.
Right.
You know, where you're trying to build bridges and restore, and it's a constructive sort of feeling, you know, and that's what I appreciate.
Yes. Anybody else has a question? Anybody? We got a short audience today, a small audience, but it don't matter. You're here. God said 2 or 3 gathered in my name. Here I am in the midst. And we got more than 3 people here today. So he's in the midst. You can write it down. Go right here.
I don't have a question. I just want to expound on some of the things that he said.
Yeah,
you know,
go right here.
The Meldrum Center. I've been to the Meldrum Center many times, and they do serve about 600 people a day. And the center on Connors, because I used to stay over there, I used to go down to the center, and they do serve at least 12 to 1,300 people per day at that center. And they also provide you, they have attorneys that come in on Friday, and they help you with, you know, like IDs and paperwork and stuff that you need. They help you, you know, you don't have to pay for that. Only thing you have to do is have your credentials. And you will have to come in because they start around 10 o'clock working with people. Wow. Sometimes they have judges come in to help people, you know, with driving records and stuff like that there at the Counter Center on Fridays. They have a lot of things going at that Counter Center. You can bring in vouchers for clothes. You can bring in vouchers. They have social workers and stuff there like they do on Melbourne. I've been to those 2 centers many times, you know, but the Counter Center is, I love it because they serve some great food up in there.
Oh yeah.
Yes, they have macaroni and cheese. They have fish. They have chicken. They serve great food.
Is the Counter Center, is that where you go for Saturdays?
Yeah, they're open on Saturdays.
Okay, because Mondays and Fridays from 7:30 to 5, I'm at work.
Okay.
So I can't go to the other center. What's that? The other one?
The Meldrum Center.
Who?
The Meldrum.
Meldrum, yes.
Meldrum. But I can make it to the Counter Center because I love good food.
Yes.
That'd be
and
great.
They serve breakfast and lunch. Man, it'd be good.
Oh yeah.
It'd be good too. Yes, and they give you a treat, the ice cream. You always have a nice snack.
All right. Wow, that's powerful. What a show today. The producer's saying she's giving me the sign. 1 minute left. What's your phone number?
It's 313-579-2100. My extension, if you want to talk to me, is 220. And hopefully I can get you hooked up to the right person after that. So.
All right. What a show today. I've been your host today, Prophet Cedric Banks, and we'll see you next Saturday at 8 p.m. on Comcast Channel 90, along with
Prophetess Donetta Banks.
And along with
Brother Jerry Johnson
from
Capuchin Soup Kitchen.
We'll see you next Saturday at 8 p.m. right here on the Community Shall Be Restored television show.